What are we going to look at today? We're going to look at this Kubey Veloce, and we should probably talk about it in its native tongue. So, you got to read the subtitles. So turn down the volume. Here comes a little bit of music. Alright guys, that was just kind of a fun intro because the fact is this knife looks like it came from Mars. It really does. Now this is a Sharif Manganis design. This is the Veloce. This is done in S30V. I'm trying to get that cleaned off so you guys can see it. So it's done in S30V. It is a Manganis design. It's done by Kubey. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm friends with Sharif. I like Sharif. I like his designs. He's been on the channel a couple times. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this. And there's a couple reasons. I'm not sure how much of a review I'm actually gonna do because it kind of doesn't fit some of my purpose of use. I'll try, so there may be a second full video on this, but let's try and get some of the stuff. This is, first of all, this is a very good looking knife. And it's very well made. Kubey's been doing leaps and bounds better on stuff than what I used to see. Now, just a little bit of background. Sharif came from the automotive industry. He was automotive design and things like that. And you can kind of see that here. This knife kind of looks like a race car, but to me, it looks more futuristic, space-ish. A lot of really unique lines on this. You've got this interesting blade profile where it comes down like this, big fuller where it just drops into kind of like this. I want to say it's almost drop point, almost harpoon, almost Warncliffe, but that big fuller is cool. You've got this big aperture for opening and a flipper, and the action on it, it's pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie. The detent feels a little soft. It does not have the snap that some of his other designs do. Now, so you know, he also designed the KU344 that I had, and I have since, someone fell in love with that knife. It was a gift. I wasn't gonna carry it very much as good as it was. I wound up giving it away because they needed a good knife, and it was just something I was probably not gonna use. So he's designed two other knives that I've had and I really like. This one, I'm going to say, I think a lot of it has to do with ergos. And you guys know me, I'm big on ergos. We'll talk about that in a minute right now. Just first carry, like I've carried this. I'm not going to say it's a first day in pockets because this has been in and out of my pocket for like a couple hours at a time over probably the last 4 days or so. Pardon. So you're looking at maybe about 8 hours of carry total. And for me, there's a lot of things this just doesn't do for me that might just preclude me from going any further with a review. So give me a second. I got to go get something to drink because obviously I've got allergies horrible. So I'll be right. I had to go get some water. It's super dry here and my allergies are just killing me. So like I was saying, there's a lot of cool things about this knife, but there's a lot of things that are probably going to be a no-go for me. So let's just take a quick look at it, the things I've noticed so far today in carry. Pocket clip is actually really comfortable. We'll look at some of the things that I do like about it first. Pocket clip's actually really comfortable, nice and broad. It does not have too much tension, and it's also not it's not really weak so that it walks around pockets. Sorry about that. So it doesn't walk around in your pocket. It's just about the right amount of tension. Backspacer has got a spot for a lanyard, but not a hole. I love that option. I love the fact that you guys that do like lanyards have a spot for it, but it doesn't detract from the aesthetics of the knife because this is an attractive knife. The lock bear cutout is just where I would want it. It's on the inside, not on the outside, because that has a tendency to catch material. And then you have just the clean lines on this. The lines on this are really good. It is a very attractive knife. You've got a little bit of checkering here on that. flip on that lock bar that gives it just a little bit of aesthetics that you wouldn't see typically. It's just a nice little contrast. And then you have your flipper tab, which winds up coming up and is really out of the way. Attractive looking blade, lots of belly. It's got a nice distal taper. It's a little bit thick, but it does transition down fairly well. It's fairly thick blade stock with not a lot of room to transition, but it does come down fairly thin behind the edge. But the problem is it rapidly thickens up. So any cutting you're going to do, I did notice this, it's relatively thin at the edge and right behind it, but then it rapidly gets thick. Big finger choil here that I really don't think is all that useful, but you do have really nice clean action. Like I said, it is just shy, just a little jiggle. Well, does it drop? Will it drop all the way? Just a little jiggle to convince it to go home. So your action's really nice. It's got a really cool sound too. Listen, nice sound on that. And right here, one of the last things, some attractive milling on the inside of that in lieu of jimping right in here. And it's been sculpted out here and left tall here. So you have really good access. I've done a couple knives here recently that just did not have that. And then the jimping up here is just about the perfect amount of jimping. It's not real sharp. It's not real soft. You can get on it. And then, like I said, big, beautiful fuller that goes all the way up with that unique look to it right there. And then, like I said, Kubey's been doing a good job. Their pivots are always awesome, but this is a very attractive knife. So that is just kind of the things that are great about it. Now, let's talk about some of the things that are not. For me, just this has got that big palm swell here and then this big opening, and it just kind of feels like I'm forced into a hand hold where I'm being pushed up in, and I don't feel like it addresses the cut quite the way I want. It does cut well, but like for detail work and stuff like that, even with the big finger choil, I just feel like I'm kind of out of alignment with the cut. And then, like I said, this a lot like the Koenig Arius, which is also another great knife. I feel as though this kind of pushes me into, like, when I get it comfortable, I'm back here. If I'm up here, then it just kind of feels like I'm like cramped. It just feels cramped. So if I'm all the way back here, it's not that uncomfortable, but then look how far away I am from the work. And so for detail cutting, I'd want to be much more up this way. It's not horrible like this, but this is another one of those knives that doesn't want to sit like aligned with the cut. It wants to roll away from the cut, and I have to address it differently, and it feels unusual and awkward. But like I said, it does cut well. And then the other thing is, like, if I was doing detail work, I can get up on that, but then it just feels like I'm out of position. It just feels like I'm like out of position to do the cut. And then, as I said, if you look, it doesn't align the way I want. I have to rotate my hand. So like if I'm cutting like this, it's kind of candid off. And I'm not sure what causes that. There's just some knives that do that. But it is an attractive knife, and it seems to be incredibly well made. I just don't know how I feel about this. And, you know, like I said in the intro, it does kind of feel like it's a space knife. I do like the unique lines that Sharif always puts in his knives. Like this, that just gives you an extra facet. I really do find that attractive. These unique sweeping lines that come down. You kind of have a V here and a V here. You get a little bit of symmetry. But the big thing about this that I'm going to have to say would be one of the reasons that I would probably kind of shy away from it is the blade to handle ratio. So if you look, there's a lot of space from here to here and from here to here. So when your blade is deployed, you're losing a lot. So your cutting edge doesn't even start till about here. So if you look, I mean, that's a lot of handle for the blade. Now, there are some knives that like I can see that and I like it, but I am a big fan of symmetry, and I have this out to show. Ferrum Forge, that's why I always liked the Ferrum Forge knives. They were really as close to 1-to-1 blade to handle ratio as you're gonna get. They are really, really good. And it's just a symmetry thing that I really love. Same thing, I like having screws on both sides. If I'm gonna have screws, I want screws on both sides. If I'm gonna have a design, I want it on both sides. This I can understand, you know, it's a little bit different. It's on that lock bar. And then the final thing is, while it is fairly filleted and sculpted, it's still got a point here where it's not. Can you see that? And it's a little hot spotty. It's not horrible. It's not as bad as some of the other knives like the Vero Engineering Isotope that I had, but it still is one of those things that just kind of bothers me. And then, like I said, you have all of this here from your flipper tab across, and you lose that. You lose that when that blade is so far back in and you've got that much material forward of your pivot. So, I mean, it's not a horrible knife, and I'm going to give it a shot. I will give it some carry, and we'll see. I don't like not doing a review on a knife, but I would also rather, you know, if it's just something that it's 100% just my thing, that it's something that I don't like, and or it's aesthetics and it's the reasoning behind it, I don't like to do a video that's negative like that. So, like, if there's actual issues that I'm seeing, that like, is the knife uncomfortable? Is the knife not functional? Then they get bad reviews. So, I mean, it's an attractive knife. It's got some really cool lines, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll carry it for the next couple weeks and do an actual full review, but we'll see. You know, if it just gets to where I'm just like, yeah, I'm really not doing anything with this knife. Let me just not bother doing the review. So at any rate, I'm not saying it's not a good knife. I'm just saying it might not be a knife for me. So guys, let's turn this around and do some final thoughts.
Hey guys, I don't know. We're gonna see. I don't know about this one. As much as I'm kind of impressed, and I like the way it looks and things like that. I don't know about this one, Sharif. This one is definitely special. So guys, that's it on this one. If you like the content, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the content, give it a thumbs down. But please try to tell me why I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, it's as simple as like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon. But if you do hit the bell icon, make sure you got device notifications turned on, because if you don't have those turned on your device, you're not going to get notified. And I put up a lot of content Monday through Friday, sometimes on Saturday too. If you want to support the channel financially, however, there's a handful of ways you can do it. They're all in the description below. First and foremost, I have a tier-based membership. Take a look at it, pick a tier that gets you what you want out of the memberships, but everyone that's a member saves $5 off my sharpening service, and everyone has access to my gilded server. But if you're a premium tier member, you have access to a sharpening tutorial series I've built. Other ways you can do it, I have affiliate links down below. A lot of affiliate links. I have a coffee brand coffee company. I have Blade HQ. I have a bunch of different stuff. Any of the things you click on, they don't charge you any extra. They just give me a little bit of it at checkout for having brought you those things. Coffee Brand Coffee and Blade HQ are the ones that I'm really proud of and happy about. Coffee Brand Coffee, there's no politics. You're not paying for any political agenda. You're just paying for the product. It's going to make it cheaper. It's going to make it better. And Blade HQ, you can find most of the stuff that is on the channel. And final way is I have a merchandise store where you can purchase my merchandise at a discount, because I have a coupon code set up there on Ember Shirt Code that works anywhere on Ember Shirt Code. It's CrazySharp, all one word, capital C, capital S, CrazySharp. It saves you 10%. Check out. If you send me pictures of you wearing my merchandise, I will put them in videos. Guys, I love you all. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I will see you in the next video. I love the spinny chair.